Hello, listeners. We are really privileged to have with us Dr. Prasenjit Pal, Assistant Professor here at Nagaland University, Merima campus from the Department of Teacher Education. This is not the first time that we are having this discussion with him. In fact, this is a continuation of our discussion on NEP 2020. So in our previous discussion, sir, we have discussed about the major changes in school education. So in relation to that, what would be some of the challenges or how does it impact or affect the teacher training institutes?
Actually, as I said earlier, that these changes proposed or recommended in national education policy that cannot be implemented without having skilled teacher, and there should be a complete restructuring of the teacher education system. Now, this national education policy also proposed some major changes regarding the teacher educations. Okay, so first changes they actually proposed for the recruitment of the teacher, and now we have a different recruitment process in different state for the school teacher or college teacher or the university teacher. Now this policy proposed that from now onward teacher recruitment will be done through, first is TET, teacher eligibility test, and second is by an examination conducted by NTA, National Testing Agency. This is the first change. And in that examinations, this policy proposed that we should test the content knowledge of the teacher, we should test the ability of the teacher to deal in the classroom. So a classroom demonstrations will be required, and intensive interview will be done while recruiting the teacher. So this is the one area of changes. Second changes, the policy actually visualized that there is a scarcity of teacher in the rural area of the India. Not only Nagaland, throughout the India there is a scarcity of the teacher. So in order to solve this problem, this policy opined some of the strategy. First is they are going to halt the teacher transfer mechanism from the rural area to urban area, going to make it a halt. Second is that if there is scarcity of the teacher, they will develop a school complex, means by taking 2 or 3 schools from the local area, they will develop a school complex, and they will use the teachers and other resources to teach the local community. And teachers will be incentivized to teach in the rural sectors. And master trainer will be, or master instructor will be created from the local community to teach that rural areas. So these are the policy they proposed to redistribute the number of teacher to the rural sector. Now the teacher education, the structure of teacher education, there is also some radical changes they proposed. So from now onward, they actually propose to establish multidisciplinary college and university. And the standalone B.Ed or this teacher training institution will be abolished. Now teacher educations will be governed by that multidisciplinary college and university from now onwards. And there will be 4-year integrated B.Ed courses. Also, there will be 2 years B.Ed course and 1 year's B.Ed courses to cope up with the early lags. And then there will be 1 year M.Ed and 2 years M.Ed, and then PhD will be also there. Apart from that, short-term teacher education program will be conducted by Block Institute of Educational and Training Institution, DIET. And there will be special education and leadership courses, for the master trainer, for the community stakeholder, and for the special educator also. Now, in order to get the admission in this teacher educational institution, NTA will again conduct some admission test. Government will give the scholarships to the aspirant teachers, particularly female teachers. Government will give. And one national curriculum framework for teacher educations will come, and it will address the pedagogy, the curriculum that will be taught in the teacher education courses. But focus is on the content specific knowledge, storytelling method, art integrated, sports integrated method that the National Education Policy proposed for the pedagogical changes. Integrated pedagogy, practicum, and the blended method of learning will be introduced from now onward. The present policy also focused on continuous professional development of the teacher. So they propose that at least 50 years every teacher have to spend in a year for their continuous professional development through online mode, Swayam, Diksha portals. And national professional standard for teachers will be also created. And last thing they actually told about the teacher educations, that in order to encourage the teacher, we need to have a proper career management for the teacher. So for doing that, a multiple parameter for assessing the teacher's performance will be created. For example, through peer review, through attendance, how much time they dedicated for teaching, how much time they dedicated for continuous professional development. With all, they will actually assess the teacher's performance. And with that performance, they will provide the career advancement, promotions, and everything. So these are the changes that proposed regarding the teacher educations. Okay.
Now, sir, when it comes to the 4-year integrated
Yeah.
program, there are many questions with regard to that and also challenges when it comes to Nagaland context. So, what do you have to say in this context? What are some of the good things that can come out of this, or some of the facilities or manpower that we still need in order to implement this in Nagaland?
Actually, regarding the teacher education in Nagaland, now in Nagaland we have 8 teachers training institutions. They are providing the B.Ed courses. There are diets who are providing the diploma in education courses, elementary education courses, and we have one university, that is Nagaland Central University, who are offering the M.Ed courses and PhD in educations. Still in Nagaland, that new recommendations are not in effect. So we have not introduced the 4 years integrated teaching learning. My understanding is that in Nagaland you will see the most of the teacher training institutions are private. And most of the private teachers training institutions, they are providing teacher education, and there is no regulative mechanism to regulate their teaching strategy, to supervise their pedagogy, the curriculum structure. As my information, I know that in B.Ed training, there is a course for art and drama in educations. So there is no institutions I found in Nagaland where you have the permanent teacher for that art and drama in educations. So they are teaching the teacher education courses through contractual teachers, through temporary teachers, and there is no mechanism of assessing their performance. So the policy proposed regarding the teacher educations in the Nagaland National Education Policy, if it is implemented in the Nagaland, the complete scenario of the teacher educations will be changed, and the quality can be improved if we can implement the teacher educations. But again, there is the problem that there is a very few opportunities of capacity building for the teacher educators. So these things should be taken into considerations. So this is my opinion regarding the teacher education in Nagaland.
Okay. NEP also talks about putting a cap on fees charged especially by the private institutes, since we're talking about the teacher education institutes. So, if it's actually been implemented, who would be the authority in order to check the hiking of prices in the admissions and semester fees by the private colleges?
Yes, actually, NEP on the one hand proposed that we should allow private as well as public institutions to play into the teacher education field. On the other hand, they also told about curbing the commercializations of the educations. But there should be some regulatory authority. Actually, this present policy proposed to develop a higher education commission, national higher education commission. Under this commission there will be some regulatory authority. For example, NAC will be there for supervising the quality. There will be some funding agency, national funding agency, to fund there, to implement the rules and norms. This institution, this authority will actually supervise the capitation fees and the other fees that the private institutions are charging. But again, I don't think that this only the regulatory authority can curb the commercializations. So it is also my questions. The privatizations are it going to actually protect the interest of disadvantaged section or not? So because our previous experience is that particularly in the teachers education's area, we already witnessed, we already experienced the bad part of the commercializations. So if the regulatory authority that proposed by the national education policy does the supervisions, does the regulations correctly, then there is a chance to curb these commercializations.
Now, sir, you also mentioned about the enhancement of professional development of the teacher educators. What is your suggestion when it comes to Nagaland context? What can be done and what should be done?
Yeah, for the capacity building of the teachers, I think that 4-year integrated course should be introduced first. Second is that, keeping in mind the geographical areas of the Nagaland, we should have some extension activities. So we have to reach to the poorest of the poor. So these facilities, that is the facilities or opportunities of capacity building program, should be extended to the rural areas, the teachers working in the rural areas. For that, it is the demand of the time to introduce the online and the technology enabled teaching learning procedure, a blended method of capacity building, online offline mode, and as well as a 4-year integrated program should be introduced. And BIET and the diets, there should be more opportunity to train the Anganwadi worker, to train the primary school teachers, pre-primary school teachers. So all these facilities should be extended to the diets and the teacher training institutes situated in the rural sectors of the Nagaland. So this is my suggestion.
Thank you so much for your valuable input, sir. You were also mentioning that in Nagaland, there are only 8 B.Ed colleges. There are also only 2 government-run institutions, and the remaining 6 are from the private. So if you look at the scenario from the mainland, like cities like Delhi and Andhra, they are closing down colleges because they have excess in number. While in Nagaland, there are only 8. And NCT has stopped giving license to open up new B.Ed colleges. So what is your opinion on this? Because the situation is quite ironic. I think we need more B.Ed colleges. Don't you agree, sir?
Actually, the present policy, as I told earlier, proposed that to set up this multidisciplinary huge college and universities, at least one in each district. They proposed that. At least one in each district. And teacher educations will be imparted from that multidisciplinary college and institutes. So if the policy recommended in the NEP to set up at least one multidisciplinary college and universities in each district, this problem will be sorted out. But still, it required the seriousness of the administrations to set up this kind of institution and willingness to finance or providing the fund to set up this institution in each districts of the Nagaland. So if they will set up at least one universities or one colleges, multidisciplinary colleges in each district, this problem will be not there.
So, sir, before talking about the higher education, changes in higher education, what are some of the policies that you're really excited personally about, seeing it getting implemented, sir?
I am interested in the pedagogical changes, the changes in the curricular structure, particularly the implementations of early childhood care and educations. The recommendations of the policy, I am interested on that because this is the first policy which talked about so much about the early childhood care, and they have given a rigorous descriptions of how the curriculum would be, how the pedagogy would be, how the aspect would be. This is the one thing I am so much interested about that. Second thing is that regarding the integrations of general educations and the vocational educations from class 6 onward, the hands-on training, the training that will provide you more employability. So these things, these are the good things that we can take from the present national education policy. Also the pedagogical changes. The policy focused on the experiential pedagogy and the innovative pedagogy. So this pedagogy of integrations of art, integrations of sports, this will going to make a difference. As I am talking about the Nagaland, this area or this region is dominated by the art and cultures of different tribes. Now, if effectively we can incorporate this art and crafts, this can work in two ways. It will enhance the skill of teacher and the student, as well as it will preserve, it will conserve the art and culture and the sports of the tribal community. And the next thing what I am interested about, that multilingualism. They talked about teaching in mother languages, and they talked about integrations of the local language, local history, local economy, local society into the curriculum. So if it can be done, the places like Nagaland, where the history has been handed down from the generations to generations orally, this will be documented. So these are the area where I am so much impressed in this national education policy.
Please like and subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell for the latest contents. Also, follow us on all our social media handles.